Hello magicians! Thank you for joining me for week 5. So today we are going to be talking about magical preparations. What are the items that we need in order to perform magic rituals? So before you sit down to perform a ritual, it's a good idea to protect yourself. And we talked a little bit about that, psychic protection, just drawing in light into yourself, saging the room, just making sure you're in a really good place so you can connect to good entities. So after you're in a really good place and you're coming from a really high vibration, or you're emitting this really loving frequency, maybe after you've been meditating, after you have done some art, created some art as a spiritual practice, and you're just feeling really, really good. You're feeling very centered in your body and your energy is flowing. Or, maybe after you've done some qigong or something, yoga, you've gone exercising, and your energy is flowing in a very good way, and your mood is so high that that emotion is going to drive your intentions into the world. That is a wonderful time to go to your altar space and set an intention, start doing some magic. So before you begin, of course, you want to ask yourself, why again? Why do you want to manifest what you do? Are your desires in alignment with your heart or your head? And if you are just trying to get things for yourself, if it's a very selfish thing that doesn't really serve other people or help you evolve in a way, it's just like a greedy thing, you want to change your intention to align with your heart, which always serves itself, but also others. So we're going to look at altars today, and in the same manner that meditators sit in the same place and face the same direction, and it just helps to get them in the zone. They have this muscle memory, kinesthetic memory, I think that's what it's called, and it helps them relax. In that same fashion, magicians go to their altar and they see their beautiful flowers or pictures of deities, and it just elicits a beautiful response where they go, okay, it's time to relax, it's time to focus and do some magic. So you can put anything you want at your altar. I'm just going to show you now what's at mine and then kind of go over it, and then you can create your own. And we're going to be sharing our images in the group. Please share your images in the group. I really want to see your altars because they're just so beautiful. And you guys inspired me so much to do this. I've actually never created such a beautiful one, and you can use things around your house or you can find things in nature, so don't even worry about going out and buying fancy equipment or anything. So I'll show you mine now. So here is my altar, and as you can see, there are beautiful fresh flowers, and you always want to have some fresh flowers to make an offering to your guides, and you want to make sure that the water is very pure. Every day you want to fill the water up with new water, and before going to your altar space, you want to make sure that your teeth are clean and you're wearing, some nice clothes that you would wear to impress somebody. You want to take care of yourself and make it a really sacred thing. And you can put some incense, flowing in the air to make it smell good, or you can put some essential oils on yourself to make yourself smell good. You don't ever want to come to your altar and be smelling bad, or it's not a very respectful thing. So you can decorate your altar with any kind of things that you want, and flowers are always a good idea. Incense is always a good idea, just for blessings and crystals and things like that. So I'm going to go over each element and talk about how I created the items, and just kind of talk about what I have on my altar here. So the first element I have here is air, and this is in the eastern portion of your altar, and this is where you want to start. This is the innocent portion of your altar. In Native American shamanism, this is the spring, this is where life begins, and same in traditional European magic. We face the east, we start in the east, And so for the element of air, I have a fan here, and I have a wand, and I just created this one. I found a stick in my yard, and literally I just took a crystal that I was gifted and taped it to the stick and then wrapped it with some crochet, like fabric stuff. So it doesn't have to be, you know, this exorbitant, expensive process. You can do whatever you please for this. And I have a little feather to represent the element of air and some incense. So I'll explain kind of what we're going to be doing with the pieces in a bit. So I'm going to move on, and this is my fire section over here. So as you can see, I have a dagger that I've literally taken from my kitchen and just kind of wrapped in some pretty tape. And I have an image of the sun here. It's a sun to me. It's kind of like a flower sun, which represents fire. I have a candle, and then I have a ruby and pyrite, which is the sun. This is the west. Fire was in the south, water west. And here I have a chalice to represent water, the feminine. And I have a shell here that I'm going to put some water in as well. And then I have some shells that I collected in Thailand here that I found on the beach. And they really make me feel happy when I look at them. So, and some coral. So more important than anything is that you take materials that make you feel happy. It doesn't matter if your altar looks like someone else's altar or you have different deities or something. The most important thing is that you have pieces on your altar that make you feel happy, that make you want to do magic. So in this section, here's my earth section. And as you can see, I just went outside and picked some ferns. And I have some antlers here that I got at a vintage shop that I was going to use for like some jewelry holders or something, and I used in a video. And this is, you know, to represent the earth god and Pan and everything like that. And some pine cones. I have a crystal here, some quartz, just a simple clearing crystal, a Budai, a little statue. And that's a very simple elemental altar. Okay, so now I'm going to talk a little bit about why we use each item. So the wand for the air often represents the masculine and the mind, and it can be used to summon spiritual energy or direct it. It can be used to cut things, it can be used to clear things, and you don't have to use a wand for this altar. If you don't feel like making a wand, you can use something else. So you can also use a fan, you can use feathers. You just want to pick an item that basically represents air to you, the element of air, and then you're going to pick another item to go along with it. You're going to pick another item to pair up with it that you're going to use to invoke the element. So I chose incense for the invoking and a wand or a fan. It could be either or. I'm kind of using the fan for decoration though. So I'm using the wand for the element of air and then incense to call it in. Daggers are traditionally used for fire to represent the masculine also in magic, because they can be used to cut energetic cords, carve sigils into candles, safely enter and exit like magic circles. So you can use a dagger for fire, or you can use an image of the sun. You can print one off on your computer. You can use a candle, you know, anything that kind of reminds you of fire. So this is a bright red ruby. So I have chosen the dagger to represent fire, and then the candle, let me get the focus here, the candle to invoke it. So you can do something similar, or you can create your own little invoking ritual. So let's move on to water. Okay, so the chalice I have chosen to represent water, and this can hold ceremonial liquid. If you're working with you know, wine or something like sparkling water or something, that's a perfect place to put it. If you want to go out to like a thrift store and buy like a beautiful crystal glass, that would be appropriate. I just have an extra wine glass here right now because my crystal's locked up. So basically, what does the chalice represent? The chalice represents the feminine, and think of kind of like the womb space, that kind of shape. So I've chosen to have a chalice to represent water, and then I just have some seashells for decoration here, and then I have a little seashell that I'm using as a bowl to invoke the water element. So you can do something similar, or once again you can completely make up your own ritual. Now earth, I have chosen antlers to be my representation of earth. And I have some extra little decorations here in a crystal. So you can also use a pentacle. And for anyone who doesn't know what a pentacle is, it's just a star with a circle in it. And basically, you can even go outside and like get a stick and craft one yourself. And I might even do that for the community, for the group. So yeah, you can do anything you want here, and we can talk more about the meaning of the pentacle in the group. So this represents the earth to me, and kind of like the god of the hunt, Pan. And I've chosen a crystal to be something that invokes the element of earth. Okay, so I hope that was a really good explanation, and I hope I just kind of broke it down really clearly for you. So there's a few more things that you want to add to your altar space. If you so choose, right? You don't have to add all of these things. I'm just going over the traditional magical items just so you have like a perfect understanding of what traditional ritual magic and ceremonial magic is all about. So some people use a vial of oil made from olives, basically olive oil. I guess you could go to the store and get some olive oil just to wipe down their table, to kind of consecrate and make everything sacred before they lay down their cloth. So a lot of magicians will use a black cloth, and that's supposed to represent the unmanifest, the spiritual realm. I've chosen to use a rainbow cloth, as you saw, so you can do whatever you please, whatever feels best to you. You can use a bell to invoke or banish spiritual forces. I have chosen a singing bowl, and that helps to clear the space. And I've placed it in the front of my altar, and basically it also represents like a cauldron and the womb. And you can like put things in it like, you know, hot candles and stuff like that, like incense wicks or whatever, as you're doing your magic. So an oil lamp has traditionally been used to draw in energy from the elemental portals to create a gateway between worlds. So a pentacle can also be placed underneath the center oil lamp, which is hung from above. And you can maybe find those in thrift stores as well. I don't know if they are even sold anymore. They must be somewhere. So a pentacle is placed underneath the oil lamp. So like right underneath it on the table, basically representing as above, so below. And you can also use colored candles for spell casting. You can find them at like spiritual bookstores or magical stores, things like that, or the Unicult Supply Co. I know Unicron, my friend, sells like a little pack of them that are really great. So I also have used some candles to represent the goddess and the god. So you want to also get a candle to represent the goddess and the god. So the divine feminine and divine masculine. This has nothing to do with any like particular religion in my experience. Yes, it's basically Wiccan, but as we all know, there are divine feminine and masculine energies. They just exist. So to me, it kind of transcends all religion. So I just went to the dollar store and actually got a candle with a red casing because I couldn't find like black candles anywhere. So I was like, oh, okay, look, here's a perfect set of black and red candles. So the most important thing is that you basically want to, you know, just feel comfortable with what you have on your altar, so you can trick your mind and just get really focused on what you're doing in the present moment so you can use your magic. So you want to place those at the front of your altar. So you can also place pictures of deities on your altar, whatever makes you feel comfortable. If you have a certain spiritual teacher that you like, you can place images there. So I have Lakshmi here, who is the goddess of beauty and abundance and love and just all good things. And here I have Ganesha, who is the remover of obstacles. And we're going to be doing a spell with these deities. So if you want to print off pictures from your computer, from Google, I just went with a flashcard to my local UPS store and printed them off, and then got frames from a thrift store to just make it all beautiful and match the gold of my singing bowl. So feel free to do that, or print off pictures of deities that you feel more comfortable with. I think one of the most important things to remember about setting up your altar is, you know, you have to make it yours. And if someone says like, oh, that's not quite right, that's not perfect, it doesn't matter. Your altar is your sacred place. It's could be made, you know, in a place that makes you feel really comfortable, somewhere quiet, that is not next to a television, somewhere that you feel very, very peaceful. If you want to dedicate an entire room to like your spirituality, by all means do that. Even if you just have like a little corner in your bedroom, just where you can just, you know, just be so sacred, just somewhere where you can just relax totally and be one with yourself and connect to spirit. That's the most important thing. So don't worry if you don't align with someone else's idea of magical perfection. You are on your own journey, on your own path, and whatever you feel is right for you in the moment, if it's coming from your soul, that is what you were meant to be doing. So really trust in that. So also, some magicians in the past, and you might have seen this in movies or things like that, have put a skull at the front of their altar in between the deity images to represent the knowledge from past ancestors. So on top of the skull, and I think like even in Snow White, maybe the old witch has like a skull or with a candle in it, I don't know. Lots of occult stuff in Disney, by the way. So a black candle is placed on the skull, traditionally from autumn to the spring equinox. A red candle is placed from the spring to the autumn. The black represents the knowledge contained within the spiritual realm, while the red contains symbolizes the knowledge flowing to us. So black is the knowledge from the spiritual realm, red is the knowledge flowing to us, and it aligns with the seasons. So you can choose to do that if you want to. I know some people put like deer skulls and different things. If that feels comfortable to you, if you find one at like a vintage store or something, by all means, go with your gut. You know, even though I'm like a vegan right now, I still have animal antlers on my altar because they were sitting in a thrift shop and I'm reusing them and creating art with them. So don't feel weird if, you know, you have some animal parts or something on your, and like shells, I have these shells, they're animals. You're recycling things from nature, so don't feel weird if, you know, you don't eat meat or something like that. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about some of the clothing magicians wear. So usually a robe is worn, and I have this blue robe right now on. If you have a long sweater or, you know, just something that kind of covers up your body a little bit, you don't want to come up to your altar dressed in dirty clothes, you know, something that's offensive that won't make the spirits want to connect with you. So something like a robe will, traditionally it symbolizes silence and simplicity. something that won't distract you or the spirits. Just something very calm and neutral is a good idea. A crown, sometimes people wear. Mine is locked away in storage right now, but I will be getting it back soon for the initiation ceremony. A crown to affirm your divinity is sometimes worn, and a layman, so a magical pendant, like a crystal pendant, is worn just at the heart usually. And this is for protection and also to signify your divine authority. Certain crystals obviously have different effects, and this is scientifically proven. We use quartz all the time in our phones and our computers and everything. They do have properties. And if you want to work with certain beings, you can use certain crystals. If you want to protect yourself, go into visionary states, there are crystals for everything. Or if you just want to like have a sense of protection and clarity, you can always use quartz or selenite, something very simple like that. So you can always look up the meaning of crystals and just kind of play with that. So I'm just going to end off with some items magicians use in ceremonial magic traditionally. So a scourge, a whip, and a dagger and a chain are items that are placed around the magician, and these are supposed to remind him to keep his intention pure. They're just symbolic, right? So once you have your altar space items, you can create an altar so easily, and like I said, it can be completely yours. It can be completely unique and original, and I love it when I see people putting their own style and their own flair into their altars instead of just copying other people. There's no fun in that. So I hope that you really enjoyed that. So for next week, we want to have all our altar items ready. So your assignment for this week is to create your altar and just set everything up and make sure you have an item to represent the element of air, an item to invoke it, the element of water, and an item to invoke it, the element of fire, an item to invoke it, the element of earth, and an item to invoke it. So you're going to need 8 items in total, and if you want to go out in nature and kind of make your altar just really beautiful, please do so, and please share pictures in the community. I am so excited to see your beautiful altar spaces. And next week we are going to be actually calling the elements in. So this is a very exciting time. We're actually going to start using our magic. We've done a lot of preparation up until now. So just give yourself a pat on the back, because this has been a long journey and I'm really excited to see what you guys are going to create. So I love you, and I will see you in magic school. Bye!